Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and showing you how to install the JLT cold air intake here, available for all 2011 through 2023 5.7 liter chargers. Now, you should be checking out the JLT option if you are looking for one of the most popular intakes here on the site to help increase the airflow into your Hemi powered ride, increasing the horsepower and torque with or without the use of a custom or can tune. All right, getting into the features here of the JLT, and I think you'll find, again, this is one of the most popular systems currently on the site, available for the Hemi-powered cars with well over 500 4- and 5-star reviews. Now, I know that's not really a feature of the intake per se, but definitely something I felt worth pointing out. All right, getting back to the JLT here. Now, this option is gonna pack the usual build quality and fitment that we've come to expect from JLT. We'll get more into that here in a minute, but when it comes to main features, I think the biggest expectation will be, of course, more power and more sound. And charger owners can certainly expect a healthy dose of both with this system installed. Just how much power? Well, JLT claims that you're going to be seeing roughly 10 to 15 more horsepower with this system installed, thanks to the 10% increase in airflow over the stock airbox. Now, in addition to more power, owners can also expect a pretty noticeable increase in engine noise under hard acceleration with this system installed, and that is thanks to the open element style design. All right, getting into build quality and construction here, there's a lot to like with the USA-made JLT, starting with our rotomolded plastic intake tube. Absolutely massive here, and of course you got the JLT logo front and center. That does lead into our computer designed plastic airbox with the built-in weather stripping up top to seal to the underside of your stock or aftermarket hood. Finally guys, look at this monster, the signature S&B oiled filter. Now if you didn't know, oiled filters will typically outflow a dry filter by a small margin, but it does need a little bit more maintenance at the end of the day, basically a cleaning and re-oiling, I would say every 50,000 miles, if not maybe a little bit more. Now the kit does also include all of your couplers, clamps, hardware, everything needed for a very easy install, which we'll show you here in a little bit. Now we did talk briefly about that weather stripping here, and again, that is going to help combat some of that hot engine bay air from actually entering the system. But if that is your biggest concern, going with a sealed enclosure might be your best bet at the end of the day. Last but not least here, I did mention it at the top of this video, I'll throw it out there one more time. The JLT does not require the use of any custom or can tuning, but of course you can add it if you'd like to ultimately gain more power. All right, moving into price point, and the JLT is gonna live in that mid to high $300 range here, which I will say is pretty affordable overall, especially once you start comparing this to options from Corsa, K&N, and Air-Rate. Now, one thing that will affect price overall is the fact that you are looking at an open element design here, guys. Those are typically gonna be a bit more affordable at the end of the day when you compare those to a sealed enclosure. Now, sealed enclosures typically cost you a little bit more. They do a little bit better at reducing heat, of course, but regardless, I would just say check out the rest of our selection here at AmericanMuscle.com because there is a lot to choose from. All right, install according to the site. Gonna get a pretty soft 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, taking you, I would say, at least an hour to complete from start to finish. Now to give you a better idea of what to expect on your charger at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, a long extension, 8mm socket, a 7/16 socket, and a pry tool. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing an intake on our charger, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory intake. We'll see you when you get back.
All right, so let's get this engine cover off of it first, and that'll give us access to everything else underneath. Now we can disconnect our mass airflow sensor here and loosen the clamp on our throttle body clamp using our 8mm socket. All right, so to disconnect our mass airflow sensor is going to press the release clip on the plug and pull it out. Now we can loosen our clamp using our 8mm socket. Now we can disconnect our breather hose from the engine and take out this bolt here using our 8mm socket that holds our air box in. Now we can disconnect our air inlet tube from the throttle body and lift the whole thing out in one unit.
All right, folks, welcome back. Now that we have our factory intake off, it's time to begin assembling our new cold air intake. First thing we need to do is we still have our factory intake tube up here. We're gonna need to grab the intake air temp sensor out of that because it will be going into our new air tube. So to get this off, we're just gonna give it a twist. Now there's a locking tab up here, so you want to twist it the opposite way of the tab, and then the tab itself will actually push the air temp sensor out. And once you get it out to a point, you can wiggle that out. You want to be careful with this. You don't want to break the prong or anything on it because this can be a little expensive to replace. So we'll set this aside. Now we can set our air tube aside as well. Now we have our new air box up, and the first thing we're going to do is install the plug for this larger hole. This is for another application if you have active headlight vents, but we do not. So we're going to install our plug. Just going to get that in place. It's like a big grommet. It's a little bit tricky to get in at first. Just want to work it. Position. Go. Now the hardest part of that is getting the first section of that to slot into place. Once you get that in, it should work its way in just fine. Next, we're going to get our air filter into position at our larger opening. So you have to come in at a little bit of an angle to get this in. Whatever angle works for you is just fine. Get that to go through. And you don't want to crease your filter at all. Take a couple of tries to get it in right. That's how it's going to sit. We're going to leave it loose for now. Next, we're going to grab our intake tube and install the grommet for our intake air temp sensor. It's going to go in here. And get that fully seated. Then we can bring back our intake air temp sensor and we'll line up the notches for the little set part. Just give that a twist and bring our tab over to the little locking tab on our grommet. Now, once we have that on, we can install our coupler from our intake tube to our throttle body. You want to make sure you get your clamp on first. Slide this into position. Make sure that's fully seated. Now we are going to leave that clamp loose. Now we can get our air box into place. So we're going to install this outer grommet onto our locator dowel in the back of our air box. Just going to go on like that. You can set this into place. You want to make sure it goes over that intake air ram at the bottom. Make sure you're not pinching anything. Might take a little bit of persuasion to get it down in there. Now we're going to reuse our factory screw for our lower air box. We'll get this in position. It is going to be a little bit raised at first, but this is going to bring it down into place. We'll grab our 8mm socket extension, tighten this down. Now we're ready to set our intake tube in place. But first we're going to install our clamp loosely over our air filter. You just want to make sure that's on there, as well as the clamp for our throttle body side of our coupler. Very carefully put this into position. That's okay if that clamp falls over top of our intake tube. We just want it on there. And you're gonna have to work this into position. Now that that is set in the intake, air filter rather, we can get this one onto the throttle body side. And that gets fully seated. So now that we have this in position, grab our 8mm socket. We'll start tightening down our clamps. We're going to start with our intake air tube. You want to remember to have these in a position where you can access them easily. Now, this one's tight. We'll do our two on our throttle body side. Throttle body one tight first. Followed by our air tube, intake tube. Now once we have everything tightened down up here, we'll grab our intake air temp connector, plug that back in, as well as our vacuum line here. Now that our intake is on, we can reinstall our engine beauty cover. I'm gonna line that up with your locator dowels. Get that back into place. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our JLT cold air intake with red oiled filter for your 11 to 23 5.7 liter Hemi Charger. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Charger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.